Tonight, what we're going to be talking about, and tonight my co-host is Dallas and for DDM, and also, of course, Joseph Cam for OVZ. And tonight we're going to be talking about repeater ranges and how to plot these on a map. And after Dallas gets done showing you this really cool program that I'm going to be using after tonight, I'm sure, he's going to show you how to plot the ranges. And I'm going to let him explain all that because he knows more than I do what it's all about. I sent him some information over the last few days, and he's plotted a few of our repeaters down here. So we'll be able to check that out. So Dallas, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. And if you need me for anything, I'm right here.
All right, I need to have the screen.
You have it.
You sent out this on how to do those kind of circles or draw circles around your QTH for like range rings on a radar. Well, that's useful, but you don't know what the real range of a repeater is. So this software that I'm going to show you, and I put a link to it in the chat, so you don't have to remember this crazy URL. And that did change, correct? Y'all now see the website I'm going to be using?
If you guys see that, just go to your chat. He's put the link right in the chat, and you can click on it right in the chat. It'll bring it up in a new screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
But, all right, well, don't watch that while I'm trying to show you this stuff. But y'all now see the screen of the website?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay. All right. So I made a bogus call and a login for this thing here, and this thing's all in somewhat French and somewhat English, and the guy's from Canada, so you have to bear with it a little bit. Okay. So I've all right, let's get that thing out of the way. Ian gave me this long list of repeaters. Everything for this website does things in height and meters. So I added a column, and the ones done in red, I did. The rest of them, it takes a while to find these things, and we'll go through some of that. But let's get back to the login. So I created a Lee County Justice Center at 122 meters, and so where do I want to go? I want to go back to the main menu. I can view the coverage. Let me show you what the coverages I've done are. You can look at that one. You've got this repeater here, the one over at Cape Coral, and
The Cape Coral one has relocated, didn't you?
Okay, now the beauty of this, if you know where it's at and we want to, I can, and you know it's new height, I can edit all that stuff and I can move it.
Yeah, it's actually was moved like last week, I think.
Yeah,
So,
it was moved to the Cape
y'all help
Coral
me out.
Hospital. However, I do not know the height.
Remember these three. I know that one of them was 220, and you got those three. I wanted to show you the real world plot of those. So let me go back to return to main menu, multiple coverages. I think that one, and that one are those three. And if I submit that, what you have real world plot looks like that. It doesn't look like those three little circles.
Whoa.
Yeah, I like this.
You know,
Gives you a good
That's
idea.
amazing.
and all right, and then here's the hardest part of this whole thing. You see that button right there? You ought to put a piece of duct tape over that.
Yeah, I know. There's some websites where if you use that, you're starting over.
I'm going to put a Post-it over that so I can't see that.
Which
Y'all
button are we
don't
talking?
see me do that
You need to
but I
get
just
the
put a
correction
Post-it
for
there.
it out, put it on.
because you have to find somewhere down here, return to multiple coverages. So let's just look at them one at a time.
That's the tallest.
This guy here was really, really tall.
We call that our blowtorch.
Okay, what did I do?
That thing there covers about 2.5 counties if you've
My
got a
coverage.
good, a decent
That's
radio
the next thing
antenna.
we have to Stone Mountain, Dallas.
Yep.
This coverage.
I've got a decent radio antenna.
Yeah,
Now,
look at that.
See, yes, that's a really nice one. And then South Florida, y'all can almost get away with circles. If you did one of these, and you don't want it to look all fuzzy and green and yellow and all that and hide all the streets. Now, the beauty of this thing is,
You can
if I
see
zoom in-
if you look on the upper right corner of the circle, you can see that cut right there. That's because there's actually elevation near Sebring and Lake Placid. There's actually some elevation there in the middle of the state. It's not much, little hills, but enough
Yeah.
to affect the transmission range. But
Right.
look at the pattern on this thing. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a county repeater that's up on a TV tower, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's also a tower mounted transmitter as well.
Well, all
Can
right,
you
so
show
now if I'd
us-
have known that, I wouldn't have, I can change things to make it, to make it look a
you
little bit better. So where's
Do you
the,
think you could show us doing like doing one from scratch? Because there's one
Yes.
repeater I wanna see on here, and because I've done communication with that repeater when I should technically be far away from the actual range of the repeater. It would be cool to see what this software thinks the range of said repeater should be.
okay, and by some miracle, is it one of these that I did in red?
No. I mean, I
Okay.
can do it later by myself if it's too much trouble, but it would be a
It's a little bit convoluted to find it, but I kind of want to go through that, but I don't want to be here till midnight.
yeah.
It takes a while.
Well, I wouldn't mind going through putting one in. I mean, I'd
All
like
right,
to see
okay.
how to do it
All right,
because
well, we can do that.
it would sure help me because I'm not one of these people that hunt and pecks the right buttons at first.
Well, neither do I, and I've only been using this thing for off and on now for 15 years.
And that's 15 years more than I've got on
right.
it.
Where does this data come from that you're using though? I mean, where,
Some of it I input. Let me get back to the Radio Mobile website. So let's go. Let's start off. Let's just create a new site.
Joseph,
All right.
you got that information? We'll just put it in.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the hardest part of the thing: is do you know where the repeater is?
Yes, I do. It is I can tell you the building that it's on. I don't have coordinates, but I have the building that it's on. Or in fact, if you just
Okay.
look at the map and you stick the pin right on top of where the map says Miami is, like the text that says Miami, you're pretty much right on top of it.
I don't see what it is. Miami's over here someplace. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so see the big text that said Miami?
Yeah.
Pretty much just stick it like right there. Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's pretty good.
All right.
If you
so I'm
open the
gonna-
window, you can smell it.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just, for this, we're just gonna submit it, and we're just gonna call this one
That was a
Miami.
hilarious joke.
M-I,
thank you, Svetlana.
Miami? Is that how you spell Miami? Wow, the
I always
elevation
badmouth
is,
big towns. I'm not a big town fan.
okay, the elevation is at 1 meter. That place is 3 feet above sea level.
Can you edit that? What can we convert 800 feet into meters? I can.
Yeah, we can. But see, this is the elevation of ground zero. The tower,
Okay.
that's a
Yeah, that
different-
sounds right.
That's a different, all right, so we're gonna add that one. And, all right, and then we're gonna go to new coverage. Where is it? Not, there we go. We're gonna select Miami. And you say it's how many feet?
800 feet.
800 feet. Well, that looks like it's 244 meters. I can do that in my head. I missed it by half a foot. All right, we'll call that good. All right.
Yeah.
It's do you know what kind of antenna they've got?
It is a stacked dipole. Sorry, a stacked folded dipole. You know, like they
Okay,
use
yeah.
for like commercial stuff.
All right, that's a 6 dB gain antenna unless they put all of
think it-
them
I
on one
think it has
side.
more gain than that.
No,
How many bays does it have?
4.
4?
I mean, I don't know.
I
guess
think they
6 is
they
fine.
can be a little directional depending on which way the loops are
You,
facing.
you can do it. You can get 9 dB if they want to. And since they're in Miami, they might. So they're not talking out over the ocean.
I just leave it at
It is
6.
very common down here for all of our antennas, all of our broadcast antennas broadcast in like a bow tie where most of the energy goes north and south.
Okay. Yeah, so mobile, hold on.
We're gonna go ahead and change that to 9 since we think it's directional. All right,
Mm,
and this is, I usually use the defaults where it's talking to a mobile antenna. It's 6 feet off the ground with only 2 dB gain. You know, might have a better antenna, but you know, a lot of folks only do one of those little 14 to 19 inch quarter wave dual band
Right.
Yeah.
antennas, and they have crap for gain.
Yeah, okay.
Leave
what
the
is that?
description blank. Is this a
Right.
2 meter or 440 or what?
440, 444 megahertz.
All right. Do you know what the transmit power is?
Not off the top of my head, but I believe it's probably 50 watts. It's
Okay.
probably the standard.
All right. If that kind of height, unless it's a tower mounted repeater, I'm going to bump that up to maybe 5 dB of loss between the duplexer and the cable
Well,
to get up that high.
It's on top of a building. So they're
Yeah,
The
actually,
repeater's right there with it.
Oh,
the repeater is
okay.
actually, the antenna is not that
Oh.
far
Shouldn't
from the
be much
repeater.
line loss.
All right. So we're going to drop that down to only 2 dB. Or heck, if it's really close, it might only be 1.5, a half a dB or so. You know,
Yeah, line loss is going to be pretty low because they use high quality feed line.
Yep. All right, then let's drop that all the way down to 1 dB. There's a half a dB loss in the duplexer and a little bit of connections and whatnot. For the receive mobile, it's next to nothing. And then we go up to, let's see, what's the range do I want? I don't want to go out more than, go up to 124 miles. Because it just might,
Good.
it might do, and this is where you go and make a cup of coffee.
Oh, it has to sit here and plot it.
'Cause it
Please
takes-
stand by as Bill Gates scratches his head.
Yes. And it started off fast. And then it's like, I think the guy is still using his same 386 SX.
Thank you for using Commodore 64.
Yes.
Or Raspberry Pi.
And it's worse if there's like 4 or 5 people trying to do this at the same time. Because sometimes
That, the contour map you showed me the other day, or the one I saw, was like up in the mountains. And man, that was one hell of a map. It was like you could see where the valleys and the mountains and how things were being blocked. It was great.
You got to do the 146.76 on Mount Mitchell.
yes,
I try to
there's a-
monitor that when I'm up there.
there-
I'm on the wrong side of my mountain, but I can usually still get it.
There's a guy here that was trying to do some plots so he could listen to the air traffic controller in Athens. And I did a plot for where his QTH was and where the airport was. And I told him that because he was going to put like another 2 sections on his tower. And I said, you need 20 more sections on your tower.
Hmm.
You're
And a
gonna have to
permit.
get Approval from the FAA.
Or he could have gone, you know, and maybe put 20 sections of tower. Oh, look at that nice, beautiful circle,
Huh.
Look at that.
you know? So, yeah,
Hmm.
I wonder
It
what creates
looks-
that little cut.
Well, that's Homestead over there.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, see that repeater I could pick up in Fort Myers with the directional antenna. But I think that pretty much matches what their plot looked like.
Yeah, but you were up at 20 something feet with a 9 dB gain antenna or something, and he has it set at 6 feet above terrain in a
Yeah,
vehicle
that's true.
mounted antenna at 3 dB
Yeah.
gain. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if he puts you up at whatever your footage and stuff is, I
Yeah.
bet you it would make it over
All right,
almost
so
to
let's,
Fort Myers.
all right, while we're here, we'll just go ahead and bloop, add that to our coverages. My sites.
What's
Go
the
back to
one
Miami.
up in, Ian,
Oh,
what's the one up in, up near Sarasota?
I'm not. Oh, we're not talking about the NI4CE.
Yeah, NI4CE.
Yeah, that's in Verna. That's
No, no,
VHF
no.
UHF split antenna up there, split system up there. I can hit that from here with my dual Yagis, but I have to be just dialed in right, and I have to be on 50 watts. But they can hear me. It's pretty clear.
Okay, so y'all were talking, so I didn't.
Okay.
They're all cool. Here, let me back up here. Where's the backup? Like cancel. Okay. My coverages. I can select the coverage that I've already done, and I can create a new coverage from this one. So I don't have to enter all that other stuff. You know, it remembered the height, it remembered the name. It's going to put an asterisk on this so that it's got a slightly different name. You know.
Yeah.
So where were you wanting to receive this at?
So I'm in, hold on. Well, I was in Fort Myers, but the repeater is the same repeater.
All right, so, you know, we're gonna just stick Fort Myers in there, or, you know, maybe
The only thing you're going to change is the receiving
Fort
station.
Myers,
pretty
or
much.
to Fort Myers, but anyhow, we want to go to, where in the world is it? Okay, it's not a mobile antenna.
No,
So how high was your antenna?
30 feet.
30 feet, 10 meters, not very high. Okay, and you had how many elements on that antenna?
I had 14 elements, so the gain was, if I remember correctly, it was 17 dB.
217.
I know 217 will do it.
Okay.
You'll be picking up all of the Caribbean islands.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll hit the submit button. And,
Boy, it gives you that first 16%, no problem.
oh yeah. But see, the beauty of this software is when you have picked a site and you've given it the coordinates, it goes out to some topo map and it gets ground zero for that site. So, you know, if I was doing the cell tower, it's 300 feet from my house, you know, it knows that's at 1,000 feet above sea level. And if
Mhm.
the repeater was at the top of that thing at 120 feet, I put in that 120 feet in meters, and then it plots and it uses the tropo map for the valleys and the hills. Now, for y'all down in South Florida, this is boring as hell because y'all are flat.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
the same.
You know, when y'all run over a rattlesnake, it's like, wow, did your ears pop? You know, because you know you had an altitude bump.
Look, growing up down here my entire life and living here my entire life for 50 years, I have to tell you that I'm just enamored by elevation and snow. I bought a cabin up in Blairsville, Georgia, right up at the top of the Zell Miller Mountain Parkway there, right before you get to North Carolina. And I love it up there. And I'm going to die up there. I'm doing
Okay.
radio down here. So
Hmm.
So it still doesn't show making it. Now maybe what we should have done is we may have to do this a slightly different way. Okay, because I don't think that changed any. So we'll add
It
that to my
extended it out a
coverage.
bit more, but
Um, What we might have to have done that one is to do that one. Uh-oh.
do
Hit
it
a button I didn't
backwards.
need to. Where's the backup cancel button? We might have to do that as a link. And we're going to link from Miami. I don't have anything in Fort Myers. Of these, which one is closest to Fort Myers?
probably the one that, well, let me look at the frequency.
They're all pretty close to Fort Myers, but the
All right.
Justice Center would be the actual closest.
Yeah, that's
one.
right, in Fort Myers.
Yeah, the Justice Center. would be
Well, the
closest.
Justice Center is, but
And the CenturyLink building is actually in downtown Fort Myers. The 220 machine actually sits on top of the old phone company building in downtown. So CenturyLink would be downtown Fort Myers, and then the Yeah, that would be the one that's actually in downtown
So
Fort
this
Myers.
one here was 244. Um,
And you know what? I got to tell you something I've learned about the 220 band. I like it. It's a nice band. It works good, and it's got a lot of good characteristics about it.
Mine lost. He said that their loss was like 1 dB. The receive antenna was 17 dB. They were maybe 9. Low loss at this end, low loss at that end. And we submit that and we look at it. Now this here, when it gets done, since it's a link, well, there's a little bit of elevation problem. So you must have been getting that over a little
Yeah,
bit
curvature of the earth.
Yeah, there's a lot of curvature.
Yeah, I was going ground wave, I guess.
The fade margin is, yep, you were just hearing it.
Yeah, during the day it would get pretty weak, but at night it would come in like full strength.
You said that was a link to a repeater here?
Well,
No.
well, since I put Miami's on the opposite side. But I put Miami at one end and Fort Myers, more or less, where
Yeah, I
Joseph
mean,
lived with his 17 dB gain antenna. He was
What
trying to
repeater?
go all the way across the state.
what repeater does that come into in Fort Myers? So that's the question.
No,
That was
it-
my station.
That's
that
just
was
from
my-
his 228.
Okay, you didn't go through the repeater system. Okay,
No.
Gotcha.
Well, that may explain why there's no, you'd have to find somebody near the middle of the state to do a hop to make a link go from coast to coast. So basically that gives you the,
I need to just remind everybody, I think one of the reasons he was able to make this jump was because there's not much between Buckingham, east of Fort Myers, and this building, except grass. That's the Everglades. If you look at that, literally east of where he was, and he wasn't in downtown Fort Myers, he was east of Fort Myers, east of the interstate, way away from the city. And everything he goes over all the way across is unpopulated Florida, all the way literally across. It's all just grass. There's no trees, there's no nothing. It's water and grass. It's swamp.
when you get
That's
a little bit
Alligator
of-
Alley, that I-75 that goes across. That's Alligator Alley. And there's nothing down there. So I think that's why he was gaining a little bit on it, because the terrain was helping.
Right. And, you could be ricocheting it off the ionosphere and making it work. Ducting is a wonderful thing. When I lived in Texas, there's a 146.64 repeater someplace in Florida. They had the same PL tone. They would check into our Aries net a lot. Multiple times. They would just, and they sounded like they were in the county. All right. So we kind of halfway gone over how to do a link and how to add a site, multiple coverages. So, if you just did, the grandpa repeater and you wanted to see what those other 3 little dinky ones did that were on buildings and small towers. Wait a minute, I did Miami. I did the wrong one. Oh, look, I didn't notice that until we looked at it, Miami. I guess we still had the other one showing. When we added that receive antenna, it showed that if you had, you were closer with that 17 dB gain antenna, you would get a strong signal. It didn't show it all the way over to Fort Myers, though. Okay, so I don't want that one. I wanted that one and those three. No, I don't want that one. I want those three and the big one. It's like those little repeaters, they get dwarfed by the grandmother of all repeaters. So if you go back to, where's that map that y'all had? Oh, there it goes. If you go back to this map, those repeaters are, other than giving you alternate frequencies to communicate, they're useless. They're dwarfed by the big one. But, you can only talk on one repeater. This opens up multiple channels of communication. So you don't get rid of a repeater because one's got more coverage.
Well, and the truth be known here with these repeaters, they're actually not, that 220 repeater is not going to stay connected to that system. Eventually, it's just going to be a 2-meter system. They decided to connect it up for right now to try to get people to get 220 rigs and stuff. But to my knowledge, that will eventually go away.
The 220 band is just not enough radios that have it.
Well, the one thing it's got going for it right now is Bofang is selling one for $35.
Yep.
And we all have it. I got to tell you, it's a great little radio. I don't know where it is right now, but
Hiding. That's the only problem. You easily lose it.
here it is. This little radio. Well, here I got my videos on the wrong thing. But they've got. I know it's still the small screen anyway, but they got this little radio, and it does 2-meter 440, and it does the 220 band, and it comes with 2 separate antennas, one for 220 and then one for the other two, because 220 does not resonate with anything really. And this little radio works great, and I can hit that 220 repeater from just about anywhere with this little radio. And then what I did in the shack here was I went and built me a little dipole antenna out of a piece of wood, and I measured it for 220, stuck it outside with a little SMA wire that comes in and hooks up to the top of this. It Velcros down in the charger, and then I have a little breast mic that goes on it, and I can use this as a little 220 base radio if I want. But anyway, 220 is a good band. Dave, AC3AV, what's up, buddy?
Good evening, gents. Yeah, sorry, I missed last week, and tonight was trivia. So,
Well, bloody hell.
I know. And last week, a bunch of my friends turned up on the door at about, I don't know, 7:50.
Well, we
or
forgive
so.
you. It's okay.
So anyway,
This is a great little program he's showing us where you can go in and put all the information and plot your repeater area where your repeater is going to work, and it uses elevation and everything. It's great. You can you can define the transmitter, the height, the power, and everything, and you can define the receiver, the height, the power, and everything. And there you go. It's right there.
All right, now, one of the things I wanted to yak about is if you don't like that one map, you can pick different maps. It doesn't have Google Maps on here, but there
Well, that
is
sucks.
right. So
This one's not bad though.
Let's go to
so which repeater was that? The last one?
I just picked one, but
Oh,
I only did a few of these. But one of the things that I wanted to show about where's my sites. If we pick like the Lee County Justice Center, now that's the name y'all give it, but that thing is way up. It's not at the Justice Center. It's out someplace else. Now here you can see it on Google Maps. And when you go out to Google Maps, the coordinates that I got from Ian, they're close.
Well, yeah,
had the
they only
description.
give 4 digits on the thing. They don't want you to know the exact location
Yeah.
for some reason.
So you gave me some verbiage about that road being 4 miles from the county line. So I went to Google Maps and I saw where the county line was. And
Still ain't TV.
so, but
Yeah,
I
it's
think
on
I
the
got my-
WBBH tower. It should say it.
it might.
I'm pretty sure
Well,
that's it.
That's
yeah,
the tower going off to the left.
yeah. But
The
see, I
actual
put this.
height is that.
So I put the
first,
dot.
platform from the-
That's ground zero.
Yeah,
So the software went out and how do we get back to?
it's about 400 feet,
Yeah.
not
the,
the whole height
yeah.
of the tower.
Yeah, the
software
tower's a
went out and
1,000-foot
calculated-
tower.
Yeah, that's. a
Yeah,
50
but its
foot
elevation
tower.
on above sea level is 8 meters.
Oh, the
It-
ground
it-
will be.
it-
Yeah.
The transmitter site could flood when the ice up north melts. Okay, but y'all don't have to worry about that for a while. Y'all will flood before that because y'all are lower.
I
Well,
don't-
unless
I
the
came in like a
foundation,
wrecking ball.
let's the foundations get washed away.
So
146. 685.
turn to me. So if we wanted to look at that coverage, yeah, that was it. Yeah, see, I actually put it, that was I saw that when I was looking at Google, the WBBH tower.
Yeah.
All right, so what did I do wrong? My coverage is that one. Use this coverage. All right. So, you can zoom in on this thing, and if, you don't like the roads, you can't see the roads that you don't, you can pick a map that's maybe got Bing roads. Golly, who uses Bing maps? Have they ever updated?
Yeah, Bing Maps is not too
You named
bad.
the anime character, you gay ass faggot! You a faggot! You celebrate gay pride! You dumb
146.
What the heck?
Just ignore it.
Hmm.
146.
Turn to
685. So what's the coverage from that one then?
Turn to this coverage. Well,
Wow. Okay, right
yeah.
the way down to
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
yeah,
But you do know that's the 400-foot level of that tower.
Yeah, that's
Right.
the best. That's the best ham repeater in Southwest Florida, right there. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, because I just tried accessing it and I could junk it.
okay. Well, what we could do is, let's go to.
And that's a good bit north of Fort Myers, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. It's actually a couple miles into Charlotte County.
Yeah.
It's in Charlotte County,
I think
but it's a
all of
Lee
it-
County owned repeater, and it's on a television tower.
Yeah.
It's a tower mounted transmitter as well.
Isn't it a 145?
So if y'all
170?
could get these two linked, y'all would have they would, as you
Well,
would drive
yeah.
from one place.
Lee
to the
County
next.
won't let us link that to anything. At least that's what we're told.
Well,
But
Lee,
if,
Yeah,
if
that-
you don't ask, you'll never know, but that's okay.
That repeater, the one in the Miami one's also been shut down. I just wanted to kind of know what the range was like.
I see the Miami one was up for sale. The whole
No.
shooting match, lock, stock, and barrel.
What?
It was up for sale.
Really?
Yeah, everything. The
But you just had to buy the hotel.
no,
I guess
the
Sergio-
antennas, the
The building
antennas,
too.
the amplifier, the power supply, the rack that it was in, the
Yeah.
filters, or not filters or whatever they're called, the
Reflectors.
cans. Yeah,
I'd love to get a hold of all that.
it
Yeah.
was about
Ooh,
3 or 4K. It
yeah, I
wasn't.
saw that.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I'll just write a
staggeringly
check.
expensive. Yeah, it wasn't staggeringly expensive for what it was. Let me see
Man,
if
can
I
you put the
find-
link to the listing in the in the chat if you have it? Because I'd like
I'm
to
just
see
going to
that.
find it.
I know Sergio was selling the stuff, but I didn't know he had it all listed as one
Yeah.
single thing.
If you move it anywhere, of course, you'd have to have it recoordinated and move the frequency, but yeah, that's,
Okay, so I've got, what's an icon? It's,
Unless y'all got questions, I think I'm done. Oh, I know what I could show you. Let me log out of here. Log
okay,
out.
so the entire system is $3,500, but they recently paid $6,000 for some upgrades or whatever. I don't know what recently means.
I want to see the list because I'm friends with the guy who's selling it. I can tell you what he's.
Well, it's a Hytera.
Yeah, Hytera.
Yeah, it's 430, 470 megahertz repeater. It's got a Sinclair duplexer, Bird rack mounted watt meter, R35 power supply, decibel, B420B commercial antenna, 16 elements, transmission lines, wall mounted camera cabinet.
Nice.
The repeater has DMR digital license, so it's both analog and digital DMR capable.
Is that on eBay?
No, that's on QRZ. And if you look on and Ross is selling it, WRNC. Oh no, WD4EHU.
That might be something else because I'm not.
It's out of Miami.
Yeah, that may be the 800 that they were shutting down. Can you put the link to that? Can you share the link to that?
I got it on my other computer, so yeah, I can do that. Hang on.
Because I don't think Sergio sold the 325 machine yet. I think he's got that at his house set up. But there was 2 other repeaters that shut down recently as well because of all the drama. So they probably put theirs up for sale.
Yeah, I think the crazy crowd just jumped from one to the other.
Sorry, we're derailing your display
Oh,
here.
no, I'm looking
it's
for
all right.
something.
And you know, the truth is, they should try over in Miami. They got all the drama on the repeaters. They should try what we do over here, where we just don't talk on them at all.
Yeah.
And we have very little drama over here on the repeaters.
Do we actually switch ours on?
I know they switch them off.
And as soon as you start using them for something, they start bitching at you. We got to keep them channels clear.
Me and
That's SARnet.
that's SARnet and that's East Coast Reflector. But me and KM4LYZ down in Naples, we actually got a repeater shut down not too long ago because we were goofing off on it too much. They literally pulled the plug on the repeater because we were being too rowdy.
So
not
you're
breaking any rules or laws or anything. Just just talking on the radio. But you weren't talking professionally.
You're the one then. Okay.
Yeah, we got the 900 shut down completely.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so hang on.
I wanted to show you another feature that this software will do.
Oh, look at that.
So if you're going to use Wi-Fi gear to link to repeaters, this is the St. David's Hospital in Round Rock, Texas. 24 meters off the top of the antenna that's on the top of the hospital. And there's the ACC Pinnacle, that's the Austin Community College Pinnacle building. That is far, far away. That's South Austin. It just happened to be that we can make that work. I've tried really, 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 really hard to push for this link to be done. I just could not get the mesh folks to back me to have the Austin Club spend $300 or $400 to buy the gear to make this work. And it has excellent fade marks. We have you know, above and beyond using those little piddly little Wi-Fi radios that only transmitted 100 milliwatts. Putting the 30 dB dishes out at each end, we had 16 and a half dB of fade margin. If we would bought little amplifiers to bump that up to a full watt or two,
950.
you know, that would have been a solid signal through the worst rain, maybe not snow, but for rain, it would have worked. But the software goes out and it finds the contour of the whole.
I really like that.
You know,
You
I'm
got
gonna
the
use that a
curvature of
lot.
the earth at the bottom as well, haven't you? By the
well,
looks of
yes,
it.
you get the curvature of the earth, and then you got, and I've never even really noticed that. But then you got, you know, Austin's known for its hills and valleys.
I'm
And I
gonna use
guess
that tool a lot.
that's somewhere around by you, is it? Because I mean,
This was when before I moved from Texas. I lived not, you know, 4 or 5 miles from the hospital, and I would have drove maybe at about here. And then
Oh,
there
okay.
was, you know, there are high spots I could get, and I could talk to our local repeaters. You know, anyhow, there's a ton of stuff that this software can do. And I just wanted to let folks know, yeah, you can draw a circle and say the repeater's got this coverage, and that works for you guys in flat land. But in Round Rock, Texas, that wouldn't have worked because some poor bastard lives down here.
yeah, we
You know?
we don't have any poor bastards down here.
Yeah, but somebody,
They're just straight bastards.
Somebody has to live there. You know, I was lucky I was, you know, not on top of the hospital, not on top of the tower on the hospital. I was, you know, somewhere over here, and I worked down here, and I drove up and down that road. But most of the interstate was elevated, so it didn't seem like I don't remember going down quite that deep.
You know, never say never. My station uses a 400 megahertz STL or satellite transmitter link from our downtown office at the Wink building. On our antenna, there's a dish that faces down to Estero, and on the tower in Estero, there's another dish, and we send our radio signal down to our tower on the STL with the internet as a backup. And believe it or not, when I was program director about 7 years ago, it started blinking out. We started losing it certain times of the day, and we'd be on backup 2 or 3 hours a day. And then finally it started getting to where it was out all the time. They built a building in Estero that actually got right in between the beam, right at the point where it crests. They built a building right there, and they did a map study, and our beam was being bisected by a new 12-story building that was being built.
Oh man.
And so they ended up moving both dishes up another X how many feet in order to get around it and still have a direct line of sight between the two dishes. So never say never. I mean, we do have buildings and things too. And if you're trying to traverse the state straight across, there's a little elevation in the middle,
Yeah,
as we saw on that map. But once you get down south of about LaBelle, it's pretty much swamp.
so what was the end result with your microwave connection?
Well, they didn't go that route. And I don't have them on this one. I might have another one of these things saved off. It's silly, wonderful software. There's this crap at the top hides my stuff. Look, I'd have to use this login for Williamson County to maybe find how we did a link. But we started off linking from a repeater site to a low power FM radio transmitter site that's owned by a ham radio guy. And then from there, we link to a water tower in Round Rock, Texas, and then we link to the water tower in Taylor, so that we could link the two repeaters. It's all, voice over IP, except it's not done through a phone line. It's all through microwave gear, commercial, off the shelf, ubiquity microwave gear. Since then, they've changed it. They've moved out to a hospital because the guy that has a low power FM station, for him to get his music and all that stuff. So it's a canned station. To get all that, he needs high speed internet. And where he's at his home, that costs too much. So he has high speed internet brought to the hospital. They have a neighbor share that expense. It's beamed to his home. And then he sends it to the two repeater sites. And
Wow.
it's he gets all his audio for his low power FM station is cutting into its bandwidth. His neighbor is sharing his half of the Wi-Fi with his neighborhood, and the repeater gets a free ride. And the repeater has telemetry. There's a young whippersnapper who's got some code running on some Arduino stuff that looks at the temperature of the amplifier, looks at the temperature of the cabinet, the voltage on the battery, the voltage, and its ripple from the power supply. So you can get a whole dashboard of what's happening at the repeater sites, both repeater sites. Interesting stuff that can be done for relatively cheap. And
Yeah, we do that with two of our repeaters, but it's only the repeater guys that can get the info.
Well, see, I tried to get it to where they would give us the links for it from time to time where everybody could watch that. I wanted that link to where I could put it on to the website.
Yeah.
But they were afraid if somebody had that, they would try to hack in and corrupt crap. So that didn't happen. But I think we could have spoofed it to where no one would have known where the data was coming from. You just get to see, it looked like gauges, temperature gauges, and like a racing car. Some of it was quite boring, 13.8 voltage never changed.
Yeah.
Now the ripple on the power supplies, they would change. Power supply goes offline and it drops the battery. You could watch the battery slowly discharge till the power came back on. Anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we do with ours. But I tell you, we got two repeaters, and we got the 440 and the 140 6670 linked together. But they get used on a Tuesday evening for the net, and that's it. I've stopped monitoring them. I used to monitor them here and call out, but I don't know what it is about repeaters in this area.
Yeah, I go up to the mountains and I hear more traffic on 520.
Yes. Yeah, we get quite a bit of traffic on 520 here because a lot of guys down in Naples and in the Golden Gate area, some of the older hams, they use that as like a DX spotting network.
Oh, okay.
So they monitor it all the time. So if you drive, I can't get it simplex from here, but if I drive down into Naples, I can call out on 250 and 220, is it? 250, whatever it is. And I can get people to come up.
Yeah, like 2 meter calling 520. I like to get on there, and I leave it on sometimes here in the shack on my big antenna, and I'll hear people on the interstate from time to time calling out. I'll answer them.
Yeah.
But it's not used down here hardly at all. And our repeaters are dead all the time down here. Nobody even gets on and talk. And when I get on and give out my call sign, nobody's listening. And now I've reached a point where I'm not hardly listening anymore. It's like, why bother? There's nobody there, so I don't know. It is a little depressing. And that's why I'm doing all the things that I do with the newsletter and this TechNet and everything that we do. I'm trying to just do anything to get more participation going and to get more. And I think the only way we can get amateur radio to where there's a bunch of us doing it and we're all doing it and we're all having a good time is to just expand to a larger area and not be a regional or a local thing, but be a national thing, you know, be an international thing like we are now, where we all get together on Friday nights. That's why this is working out so well, because you don't have to be in our local area to do it. And I think once we beat this algorithm on YouTube, we're going to get a lot more interest. So we're getting there. All right. Was there anything else on the what is this thing called? I don't know. I don't see a name. Radio Mobile. I don't know. Okay.
Radio Mobile.
Is there anything else on there you want to show us?
No,
I like it.
it does a lot for what it is. And, you know, it only does plots in the ham band, but it'll do it on any ham band. You can do 900 megahertz, 1.2 gigahertz. If you try to do a plot outside of the ham band, it just doesn't work.
Interesting.
There are paid versions of similar products. They give similar results. This is without spending thousands of dollars.
He doesn't want it used for commercial use. I get it.
You know, without spending thousands of dollars, this is commercial grade stuff. It you know.
Is it an application or is it a website?
You can, there is a way to download it and install it. But I have never done that, because where I worked at, in my telecom lab, we had like 30 computers, plus the one I had my own cubicle. And I might have to sit at one of those computers a half a day. And while the computer is running tests on something, I'm over there twiddling my thumbs, or I could play ham radio stuff on the internet. So I could do hundreds and hundreds of plots. Now the password that I tried to get to work, that I was going to show for more microwave plots, was for a guy in South Texas, and he has access to a television tower, and he wants microwave gear on 4 or 5 hospitals, the EOC, and a couple of fire stations in the 911 dispatch center. And
wow,
it shows all of the plots. They're super easy to do. And he was hoping to get funding from the ARRL, this grant stuff that's coming out. But he wasn't sure he was going to be able to do it, because until they took him away from being the head honcho for the grants, he was the guy that was overseeing the entire grant program. But when I can't remember the name of the group, it's almost like the ARDN folks that do the mesh gear, but it's another 4-letter acronym. But that's the group that was given all of the 44 dot whatever IP addresses that were dedicated to ham radio.
Yeah.
Well, they're never going to use that 20 million IP addresses, so they sold off a bazillion of them, and you know, they got like $100 million. So they've given that money to the ARRL. So if you don't know anything about this new
oh, what a waste.
Grant program that's out there that started on May 4th, you need to go to the ARRL website and look into it. You know, Club could easily get $25,000 to buy equipment to put up a repeater. For that kind of money, you could almost buy the 32nd of an acre to build the tower.
Put up a damn tower.
Yeah, but the ARRL is useless.
yeah, I agree. I tried to join my club with the ARRL and they wouldn't even call me back. I tried for 9 months.
Well,
Their people down here don't even do whatever they're supposed to do. They
well,
won't
then
even call
maybe
you
what
back.
you want to do is
Our local Aries team can't even sign off the task books or anything. It's like it's just very dysfunctional down here.
Yeah, it is.
And
It
why don't
is.
you become their section manager?
No, I gave up my membership because it was worthless to me for $50 a year. I thought it was a waste of money.
You could,
I mean, the
You
only
join
thing they
again and
tried to
become-
do in the last 2 years that I approved of was they tried to fight the $35 fee, and we lost that. But at least it wasn't $75.